The people over at Mediaite did a really interesting poll of people in the media. What they did is they asked people from CNN and MSNBC and Fox News who are the best and worst hosts at MSNBC and Fox News and CNN. So let me give you the results here. They're really interesting. Number one, at MSNBC, so ranked the best host at MSNBC by the people who work there, Andrea Mitchell. Now, as you're going to see as I move along here, some of these things I completely agree with. Others I think are laughably stupid. This is one of those instances where the response from the people is laughably stupid. Look, I don't know what criteria they used in their own minds. Maybe they used the criteria of Andrea Mitchell is nice to me, so I like her, so I'm going to vote her to be number one. But if you're going by on-air talent and ability and knowledge and you're picking Andrea Mitchell, I want to see what you're smoking. I want to see what you're drinking. I mean, good googly moogly is that insanity. I think I've turned on Andrea Mitchell's show 4 or 5 times in my life. I got through about 6.5 minutes, and I fell asleep. There was one time when I was considering cutting off my own hand to try to feel less boredom. So I don't know where they came up with that, and not to be a dick to Andrea Mitchell, even though I'm being a dick to Andrea Mitchell, I think that's crazy. So she's number one somehow, tied for last place. Now here's where I agree with them. Al Sharpton. That's obvious. And Ronan Farrow. That's even more obvious. Spot on. Ronan Farrow doesn't have an entertaining bone in his body. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He might be a nice guy. Politically, I probably don't even disagree with him all that much, although maybe I do. Reserve judgment there, because I don't know everything he believes. But his show is terrible. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I turned it on, and I'm in awe that he's even on air. I feel kind of bad for the guy, because he's so easy to make fun of. Like, I've ripped him on Twitter, so I guess I don't feel that bad for him, because I really do go after that poor kid. And Al Sharpton, I mean, come on. Come on, man. There's fucking compilations of Al Sharpton on YouTube. Like Al Sharpton versus the teleprompter, where he stumbles over every other fucking word. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. And he's just a mess. He's just a mess. Okay. And look, I know a lot of people, maybe some people really like Ronan, maybe some people really like Al. That's fine, man. I'm giving you my own opinion here. And apparently the people who work at MSNBC agree with me on this one, that those guys are the worst there. So now let's move to CNN. The best at CNN, they say, is Jake Tapper. I might have gone with Brooke Baldwin or Carol Costello. But let me say about CNN overall, nobody's really good there. There, I said it. You know, the most they can aspire to is a very vanilla host that 10% of the time speaks truth to power, and 90% of the time plays the false neutrality game and plays the pro-establishment game. So I would have gone Brooke Baldwin or Carol Costello. They say Jake Tapper. Jake is hit or miss. Sometimes he's spot on. Other times you're like, why are you doing right-wing talking points? Now, the worst at CNN, they say, is Chris Cuomo, Kate Baldwin. These are two that do the morning show, which gets terrible ratings. Don Lemon, that makes sense, and Carol Costello. Carol, again, I don't think she's bad. She's one of the better ones at CNN, even though that's not saying much. So, yeah, I would go, if this was my personal opinion, yeah, Don Lemon is one of the worst. Mr. Did the plane fly into a black hole? And blame black people for everything. Black people are guilty for everything ever. Don Lemon, and you got to go Wolf Blitzer. Come on. The guy's never said an interesting thing in human history, and he's a robot. And you also got to go, Erin Burnett is fucking terrible. I can't get over what she did with the Occupy people. Remember that? With the whole Occupy situation? She just did a whole segment going, really? Really? You're going to protest? Really? What do you even want? Meanwhile, there were like 13 manifestos released by the people at Occupy, and they all were spot on. Hey, raise the minimum wage. Hey, get money out of politics. Hey, do a universal healthcare system. But instead, she mocks them and goes, really? You're going to protest? Like, why would you protest? I make a lot of money. So that's who I would go. Now let's get to the motherlode of them all, Fox News. They say the best is Megyn Kelly and Brett Baier. Yeah, my response to that is no way. Megyn Kelly, because she knows how to form coherent sentences, and she sounds like she has her shit together. People go, she's got to be better because she's liberal on like 2 issues, right? On women's rights. What a surprise. She's a woman and she's liberal on women's rights. But everything else, she's conservative. And she knows how to form coherent sentences, so they say, okay, she's good. No, she's not. We covered stories on this show where she allowed Dinesh D'Souza to get away on air with saying the Native American genocide didn't happen. She just let it slide. She let Franklin Graham, a pastor, say on air, and she didn't push back. She let him say hell is real. Like it's a fact. She didn't push back. Don't tell me she's one of the better ones. She's not. And Brett Baer, boring, and the dude's a right-winger, so no. The only people who are somewhat decent, and even they're not good, Shep Smith and Chris Wallace. Because Chris Wallace sometimes questions politicians in a hard way, and Shep Smith sometimes comes out on the right side of issues like, I don't know, torture and gay rights. And on the gay rights one, there's like rumors that he might be gay, which is why he's on that side. But those are just rumors. I don't know for sure. The worst at Fox. You ready for this? Sean Hannity. That is spot on. And might I add, Eric Bolling, Gretchen Carlson, the people on Fox and Friends, and every other fucking host ever. They're all terrible. They're all bad. But worst of the worst, yes. Sean Hannity, Gretchen Carlson, definitely, Eric Bolling, and all the morons on Fox and Friends. They are all so incredibly stupid and ignorant and backwards. Some of them, I think, are acting and pushing and just doing propaganda. I think Sean Hannity is in that group. And some of them are just fucking stupid. I think Brian Kilmeade and Steve Doocy, they're just fucking stupid. Eric Bolling's just a fucking meathead. Gretchen Carlson, oh my God, is she in low IQsville? So this is how they came out of it. Now, Sean Hannity saw this and lost his collective shit. He went on an all-caps Twitter rant and had a meltdown. He said, quote, let's do the best of Mediaite. You have to yell when it's all caps, because that's how we all hear it in our own head. Let's do the best of Mediaite, Concha. Concha's the conservative writer at Mediaite. All the rest of you Media Matters wannabes suck in my humble opinion. Hashtag badge of honor. Yeah, you sound like you're honored by it. That's why you're so angrily ranting against the fact that you were voted the worst. Now, I love the response from the editor-in-chief, Andrew Carroll. He replied to Hannity and said, quote, Sean, you may want to dial back your vein-popping rage. This was a survey of your colleagues, not our opinion. Burn, son. I felt that. Whew. He's saying, dude, your coworkers hate you. We're not saying anything about what we think of you. Oh. And it's true. That's how they did their story. So Hannity responded to that as well and kept... See what I'm doing here? Dig in a hole. Dig it deeper. Come on, Hannity. He goes, no rage at all. Of course not. My only vein-popping rage is that 2 officers were assassinated. Media Matters Light is not important. All of a sudden, you're bringing in the situation where the cops got murdered? What are you... But you're implying that, what, the people who made the list are not angry about that? Of course they're angry about that! God, he's so stupid he doesn't even realize how stupid he is. Look at what he's saying! Anyway, there you have it. The best hosts and worst hosts at MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News, according to the people at MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News.